Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me as always is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Hello. How is everybody doing on this wonderful Friday? And it's not Good Friday, but
It's not Good Friday, but we did get a lot of flack last week for not having a show on Friday
what?
because apparently it's not a holiday everywhere.
Who gave us flack? Show me seven people who gave us flack.
I don't know if it was seven. It was probably five altogether.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of it,
I
so
know. Well, it's because they don't tweet you, they tweet me, and they say, ooh,
wow.
Canada gets a holiday every week.
Well,
It's not Canada having a holiday. It is Ryan being inconsistent.
it's called federal government. Sorry, kids. Harper needs a day off.
You can't even blame him for that. Good Friday's been a holiday for a long time.
Well, I'm just giving the people what they want, a scapegoat.
Oh, I see.
Why not make it the Prime Minister of Canada? No, Good Friday's a holiday. You should move.
If you're not getting Good Friday, you should move.
Oh, it's great. How many Fridays do you get off with a holiday? Usually it's like a Monday. Friday holidays are the best.
That's true. It's almost always a Monday.
hmm
So,
So move to Canada.
they did when Hearthstone released on the iPad, and then they all left again.
Oh, I see. I'm finally understanding who was the complainers here. All right.
They're mad because they left after the iPad release, and then they went, wait a minute, they get Fridays off too? Damn
Yeah.
it.
And maple syrup on Wednesdays, so you guys don't know what you're missing.
Maple syrup Wednesdays is the thing.
Maybe not in the Atlantics, but
In Ontario, yes.
yeah.
I should know that then.
Well, it's probably just Quebec when you think about it.
That's true. Crazy Frenchman.
It's a French holiday.
So, tell me about your crazy story, because there's a very intriguing note in our show notes right now.
I had to perform a little bit of an operation on my computer. A couple weeks ago, I had mentioned that my fan was clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And when your fan starts to go, that's when you know, like, you need to get something. Like, the fan goes, in all seriousness, I had to perform open fan surgery on my video card.
Ooh, that's a tricky
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Not
They
so
make
much
them
actually.
with covers.
Yeah, not so much tricky, but it's one of those things that you're like, if I break this, then I'm in some big trouble.
It's they're expensive to replace, especially if you want to, you want to buy something that's going to last you. I mean, you could certainly buy like a $200 video card and have it, survive for a year on games, but sometimes I usually go for like the $500 range, so I only buy like
Ooh,
every
hey, big spender.
well, I buy every 3 or 4 years, so I like really get some good use out of it. Where I think if you buy like the $200 cards, you only get like 1.5 to 2 years.
That's true.
It depends on what you're playing. Like, we're going to talk about some games later on in this episode where I'm probably going to need a new video card, but I wanted to extend its life a bit, and the fan was clicking inside, and I was at a LAN party, and there's like, does your computer usually sound like a dying hen? It's like, well, no, not normally,
Not
but now that you mention it,
usually.
like that fairy tale where the murderer hears the man's ticking heart. It's like, well, I was hearing the man's ticking heart.
Isn't
In this
that
case, it was
Edgar
the
Allan
computer.
Poe? Telltale
I think
Heart?
so. Yeah.
Nerd.
I learned it from The Simpsons. So anyways, long story short, it's like, okay, how do I fix this? You unscrew everything, you take the cover off the video card, and man, that is a process. And you're right, you're just afraid that you're gonna like slip and like jam the screwdriver into something important. It all looks
It
important
all
to
looks
me.
important. Very true.
But it turns out most of the stuff on the video card these days that you could probably hurt without trying is the cooler. Like, it's all cooling on that thing. I think. I mean, it all looks like
I put a screwdriver through it, nothing bad happened, so that must have been cooling, right?
Yeah, well, first they say, well, blow the fan out and put some motor oil like on the ball bearing. Again, we're talking about open fan surgery, this is not porn Mad Libs. Don't worry about that.
No euphemisms here.
A little bit of callback, but yeah, people in the chat room, and suddenly a $500 mistake. No, I said this has a happy ending. So, anyways, I put the juice on the ball bearing, and then that doesn't work. It's still clicking. So I go on eBay and I have to order like a replacement fan, and that is just as scary as taking the computer apart because
Okay,
all the
so
people...
I have a question.
Go
Why
ahead,
would you
shoot.
go to eBay for a new fan? Are there not more reputable sources for computer
No.
parts than eBay?
Like, okay, well, no, because the way this is the sticker that was on the fan. I don't know why I'm throwing it at the camera, but the way these fans work
This is
is
why,
that
Jocelyn. This is
this
why.
is read this small text rather than me explain it. But no, these fans are like bought in bulk by Nvidia, slapped because they're very cheap. What Nvidia wants you to do is they sell you a video card for you to overclock, and then they want you to tear out that like $5 fan and put like $100 cooler on it.
Ah.
But I don't overclock. Maybe if I did, then, you know. Like, yeah, see, people in the chat room saying, why don't you buy like a micro center for the win? It's like, to buy a fan. I don't know. Oh, wait, that's where they say I should
Yes,
go.
that's where you should go. Not eBay, which is a very, very weird choice.
Well, it was the only choice I could find because every other site was like, we ship from China. These may or may not be new. No returns. And I'm like, great. So I found an American on eBay who was selling this fan. What?
I don't know where this is going. You always make me nervous when you start talking about China.
No, China's all right today.
Today.
I didn't order from China because it's like 40-day shipping and it like costs you $30 to ship it. So I found the chat room's going nuts tonight.
I know.
I should tear my computer apart more often.
Yeah, really.
So, anyways, long and almost racist story short. I get this fan from this lovely American in Los Angeles. I slap it in the video card, and my computer's running, and notice that you can't hear a strange clicking sound.
That's good. I had a similar issue with my computer. The fan, except it wasn't the crazy little video card fan. It's the fan on the outside casing. It's making a weird noise, although it seems to have stopped. So, but it was for like days and days and days, and I blew it out with the compressed air. I still have it. It's right here. See, compressed air.
Yeah.
I went at it with the compressed air. I was like tightening screws and loosening screws, and like I was just like, oh my god, it was driving me nuts. And then randomly, it just stopped. It's still loud, like it's much louder than it has been in the past, but it's not like doing a weird clicky thing.
Yeah, see, the chat room agrees with me. It's like these stock fans that you get in your computer they're very inexpensive and they're easy to replace. Now, the fan you're talking about, you said it was just like a case fan?
It's, yeah, the big case fan on the side, yeah.
Mine's starting to go too. Like if you set your computer down wrong, it'll like start going, you know, like a friggin' jackhammer.
Yeah. I screwed in once. I screwed the little screws because I had taken the casing off and I cleaned it out and I put it back on. Screwed the screws back in and screwed them a little bit too tight, and it was like the apocalypse. It was crazy.
I might have to try that because it's just I have to give it a little tappy. We'll just tap it in and then it's fine. So yeah, but opening that computer up and taking my video card apart made me feel like kind of like a super nerd because I've never been a PC gamer before. This is why if 10 years ago Ryan was listening to this story, he'd be like, this is why you play console games. You send it away for them to fix it and it's free as opposed to you going out and buying compressed air and motor oil for your computer. It's not motor oil. It's like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's weird. Like, do you feel like you're comfortable with opening up your PC and tinkering, or do you just? Oh
yeah, I've replaced the power supply. I've replaced the video card. Not on this one because this is my fancy schmancy doghouse, and I heart it, and I probably wouldn't open it up to do much more than just spray it with some air because I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, no, my old one, I was just kind of like, well, whatever. Because I took it to Future Shop, and I think I might have told this story on the podcast before, but it caught fire, and I took it to Future Shop, and they tried to tell me it was a software problem. And I was like, if I could write software that would make my computer catch on fire, I would be a billionaire.
Yeah, wow. Future Shop, eh? Like anything to blame user error.
Yeah.
That's the software. You must have downloaded something. No! What?
Yeah.
Try hardware failure, buddy.
Yeah, so they basically just didn't want to help me or replace anything, so I just ordered my stuff online. I think when I get my stuff, I order it on Newegg, which I think the chat room just threw up there. So yeah, I get everything on Newegg for my computer parts. But yeah, no, I've tinkered. Not too much. It's very, very daunting, and I took pictures the whole way because because I was just like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing, but just in case,
You
this
document
wire
your
goes
process.
with this. Click.
I've installed RAM. The only thing I really don't feel comfortable with is like changing the motherboard, which is essentially just buying a new computer, or like changing out the processor. I had to have a friend help me with that, but it turns out it's not as hard as it seems. Like someone was telling me that you got to worry about thermal paste, and like usually
I've heard of this.
yeah, I try to stay as far away from thermal paint. I'm a pretty hot running guy as it is, so like who wants thermal paste? No, but seriously, with the CPU, like you have to like take it off, and if it doesn't come with thermal paste, you gotta like squirt it and spread it on and make sure it doesn't like.
I've watched videos of people building computers before, and I'm just like, whoa. That is way beyond my abilities. Like, I would love to learn, but I don't want to learn on equipment that costs me thousands of dollars. I don't have that kind of play money.
Now most CPUs, like when I bought a new one for my old computer, it came with everything I needed, like just pre-installed. You just had to stick it on there and make sure it like lined up. Like it's like really advanced Lego that costs not, probably on par with how much Lego costs. I mean, these days, just really big
expensive.
pieces, But no, this is why I've always been a console gamer. But it is nice to like fix like an issue that would have cost me hundreds of dollars to take to like a tech shop, right? Yeah.
Well, that's good. I am glad that your computer's working and my computer's working. We'll see how long it lasts. Who knows? I mean, like I said, it's just the case fan, so it's not really that big of a deal. And mostly it was just Jocelyn raging at her computer. Like, why won't you work? Damn it. Nothing's working right now. But yeah, so it's good. I'm glad that you were able to fix it, and hopefully mine will stay fixed, at least for now. Maybe there's just some little piece of dust that was in the wrong spot on mine. Who knows? But
oh man, those fans get so dirty.
It's so true. Sometimes I open up my computer and I'm just like, oh God, is that really what's circulating around my apartment? Because gross.
Sometimes I'd move my computer, and because it has like a case fan hole on the bottom, like if you leave it in one spot for too long and you lift up the computer, there'll just be like dust bunnies everywhere. It's disgusting. It's so gross.
So have you been using the computer to play anything on it, or have you just been tinkering?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think on the weekend, I had one of those moments where you see an email come in and it's like, this game's on sale for 50% off, and you kind of want to get it. So I picked up Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate Deluxe Edition for PC. I'm trying to think of more words to add, but that's all.
It is a really long, because at first I was like, oh, I was totally playing Origins too. This is awesome. And then it's like, wait a minute. They're both on PC, but this is different somehow, and wait a minute. So, Ryan, what the hell are you playing?
Like, in my defense, I am usually the one that tries to be difficult on this show and do things outside of the box, like try to play Wii U games. I'm weird like that. But the Batman, as I call him, had 2 games come out last year. He had the Origins, which was great. And then you had Origins Blackgate, which was a portable title only, made by some dudes who did the Metroid Prime titles.
Okay.
So this one's a side-scrolling sort of Metroidvania type title where you have your grid map.
But it's on PC.
Exactly.
Because I vaguely remember this now that you're talking about it, and I thought that it was like a maybe PSP title or something, because I remember kind of hearing about it at the time. I didn't have my 3DS. The 3DS was like the first serious portable platform that I had, so I was kind of just like, meh, whatever. That's not something I'm ever going to pick up anyway, because I don't have a portable device. So, but you're saying it's PC now?
So what the trend is these days is that a third party will build like a portable game specifically for like the 3DS or the Vita, and because it's a portable game and it's not made by Nintendo, it doesn't quite sell as well. So what they do is when they build these games, the assets are already in HD. They just trim them down to fit the console. But this game does not look good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's kind of looks like an up-res 3DS game, but what they do is they create an HD version, release it for a quarter of the price on Steam, and they try to make their money back. And this is what they've done is they just released this one, I think, at the start of the month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I got it on sale for like $10, and I was like, I've been really itching to try it because I love all the Batman games, and it didn't get horrible reviews. It certainly didn't get great reviews.
That is such a Ryan thing to say.
It is
Well,
very
it wasn't
Ryan
awful, so therefore I'm gonna give it an 8.
Well, let's not put 8s in my mouth. I mean, I might stick a 6 in there. Let's see how we do. But no. What? Just move on. So this game is set directly after Origins. I won't spoil anything. Really, you can't. It's Batman,
It's
right?
Batman, yeah. And it's a prequel, so...
Yeah, it's a prequel to Asylum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in this one, you're back at the prison, Blackgate, and you're just trying to, I don't know, stop people from hitting each other. Basically, is the whole ruling, because like the prison has taken the people have taken over the prison. They've got all the wardens and the staff as hostage, and you know the Penguin, the Joker, and a couple other bad guys have like taken all their like. Oh well, we get the courtyard. It's like okay, well we'll have like the bathrooms.
Right.
Wait, how did we get stuck with the bathrooms? That's quite the monopoly. But and it's like a side scroller, and you slowly collect your power ups. I've only gotten about a couple hours in, but it's pretty rough. It's like it's not as good as the other Batman games, but it's like I was really itching for one of those Metroidvania type games. Do you know what that? Would you know what a Metroidvania type game is? Like, have you ever played Metroid?
Vaguely.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of a game you would have played. Well, I would probably consider like the Arkham Asylum to be sort of like that, in the sense that you're traversing a map and you find a door that you can't open yet because you don't have the proper tool.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of like, not jot it down and you walk away. And then later on you'll find the item that you need, and then you can backtrack and kind of open that door for more power-ups. So in this sense, you're constantly finding things that you can't get into, and you progress, you find the item, you move back, blah, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know, it just feels like Batman, like Arkham Origins already felt like the Batman proper, but watered down. So this one feels even more watered down.
So okay, I actually picked up Origins for the first time this week. I got it for Joel for Christmas and wanted to let him play through it before I picked it up, just, out of being, this is for you, honey, I promise. So
unless you take 5 months to play it, come on, statute of limitations, people.
Statute of limitations on Christmas presents. But anyway, so I mean, we have the PC hooked up in the living room so that we can play it on the computer, on the TV. And so he played all the way through it. I caught little bits and pieces. I was having a really good time playing Assassin's Creed. So I liked in the groups and the countering, and it really, the kind of combat in Assassin's Creed reminded me of Batman, and I really, really, really enjoyed the first two Batman games. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump into Origins. It's going to be super fun. And then I was like, you know what? I've played a lot. I'm going to put it on hard mode. Never put that game on hard mode. That is ridiculous. I did not even get past the first boss fight. It was so frustrating. It was literally like I was getting one shot by like these stupid like henchmen.
Oh man. So wait, like hard mode, doesn't that like remove the little notifications that says you need to dodge now?
No, that's the you have to play through on normal or hard to unlock like play mode plus or something.
Oh,
and basically,
right.
yeah, that next mode after you've played through the game once will remove all of the telegraphs and things. Which aren't like, they're not on the ground telegraphs. It's not like this is the area you have to get out of. But if someone's going to attack you, they have the little blue lightning bolts above their head like, I'm yelling at you right now. So those are still there, but it's literally like flashes up for 2 seconds, and if you get hit, you lose like 3/4 of your health. If a boss hits you, that's it. It's like a one shot. So I was just like, I tried it's literally the first fight you get into. You walk into a room and there's like 5 dudes, and I must have tried that fight like 10 different times. And finally I got through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm just a little rusty, not a big deal. I can do this. And then I walk through, and then there's another group of guys. And again, I died like 3 or 4 times, but not as many. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And then you get to the end of the kind of like reintroduction to Batman tutorial, whatever you want to call it, and there's a Killer Croc boss fight. And this is not really a spoiler because I swear to God, it's the third room you go into in the game. So I like walked in, there's Killer Croc, he picks up like a big gas container of like propane or something and throws it at you and you die. And then finally after 3 or 4 tries I successfully dodged it, and then he comes running at you, and then if he touches you, you die. So then I successfully dodged first the propane thing and him, and then finally got a hit in on him, and that was like my 20th attempt. And I was just like, then he calls like henchmen, so then there's henchmen and him, and I was just like, okay, that's it, I'm out.
Why would you punish yourself by turning it up to hard?
You can't change the difficulty level, which is really frustrating to me. So I had to like restart the game, which wasn't a huge deal because really I didn't get that far. But the fact that you couldn't change the difficulty, I was just like, oh man, this sucks, because I would be fine on normal. But I'm finding in a lot of games recently, like there's such a huge change from one difficulty level to another. I mean, we experienced it in Diablo last night. We were playing Diablo. Yep. Like one-shotting things in hard mode, so we upped the difficulty and we were like getting one-shotted by the enemies now, and I was just like, there's gotta be a happy medium here.
Yeah, I find there's a lot of games these days that have a really tough curve when it comes to difficulty, and some games will suggest to you like a lot of first-person shooters do this. I know the Gears games did, where they said normal is easy mode, hard is what we would suggest for veteran players, and expert is like, maybe don't do this if you want to have fun.
Right.
And I really dig that. But a recent game I played that had a great expert mode that was challenging but not frustrating was Infamous Second Son. It would throw the same amount of enemies at you, but you had to be smarter the way you approached encounters, in the sense that you could easily get overwhelmed. But if you micromanage the enemies and kind of like used your powers to get around faster, it just made you smarter rather than made you be more twitchy. You know, like where shooters is like
I don't mind that at all. I don't mind having to figure out mechanics. I don't mind having to like crowd control or any of those kind of mechanics in video games. I don't mind. What I really, really, really hate in video games, regardless of difficulty level, is just the don't get hit mechanic. It's like, no, that's not really, that's never ever fun. I don't think I've ever been in a video game where just don't get hit has been fun. Like, it's just, I feel like, especially in this example with Batman last night, like I was literally just like, move left stick, hit A twice to dodge. Move stick, hit A twice. Move stick, hit A twice. Move stick, hit A twice. And I was just like, okay, this isn't even skill. This is just me like literally like jumping in circles. And yeah, not fun. But anyways, again, it's just a difficulty level thing. But in terms of the actual, like, because as I said, like Joel's actually played it through. And
he beat it. So you literally did wait for it.
He beat it quite quickly, actually. And I mean, he was playing a lot of Batman for like a week. But cool. Yeah, he finished the main storyline, and I think he beat about 30% of the game. So a lot of the game is like going around finding Riddler trophies, like doing the challenges, like all of these other little things. But the actual main storyline was not that long, I guess. Although, I mean, it's probably on par, I would say, with BioShock Infinite, like around the 15-hour mark of gameplay, which is not unheard of now. But I really think like it seemed short. I don't I don't think it was watered down. Like, I mean, chat room said that they've been milking Batman, and I can kind of see that, but I really like Batman. I like Batman as a superhero. I like Batman's villains. Like, it's a fun universe to be in, so I like more of the same in the Batman universe. Like, I didn't want them to do anything weird with Origins. Like, I like the combat, I like the story, I like the dark grittiness of it. So I'm really happy what they're doing with Batman games, but I think this one maybe could have been a little bit longer.
Well, we are going to be getting another Batman game in the fall, so that's a plus. And but yeah, I don't know. From what I saw of it, like, I'm not one to poo-poo on a game without trying it, but Arkham Origins, I guess, like, and watered down is probably the wrong word. Blackgate is definitely watered down in the sense that it's a portable game and it has to be. But with Arkham Origins, like specifically, it just looked like it wasn't trying to be, this is the next Rocksteady game. It was just trying to be, here's another Batman game to tie you over until the big boys come back.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I think it succeeded much more than, I think that new Borderlands game is going to do. Like, I feel like that one's kind of a cash-in as opposed to this Batman game.
That Borderlands one, that's the Telltale one?
No, not even that one. I'm
Oh.
thinking of like the pre-sequel or something.
Oh,
They
I don't
announced-
even see. I mean, like, I didn't play Borderlands 1. I got like halfway through Borderlands 2. It's not my favorite franchise, so I have not been paying attention whatsoever. Like, I heard that Telltale was doing like an Into the Borderlands or something. And
I'm excited about that.
I really, 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 really enjoy Wolf Among Us.
Mhm.
But outside of that, I'm not a huge fan of Telltale stuff. So, well, mostly The Walking Dead is the other big one that I've played. So, Telltale doing Borderlands, I've just kind of been like, meh. Like, it'll happen. I might watch it, or I might watch it. I might
You might
play
watch it. You could.
Well, and I mean, even that's kind of telling, right? I might watch it. They're not really that
Well,
intense in terms of gameplay.
You could say that about, you could say that about every Telltale game, but you got to be excited for their Game of Thrones game. It's coming.
Yeah, again, and that's another property that maybe has had too many different treatments lately. I
A
mean,
book and a TV show? Come on.
dude,
All it needs
there's
is a
like
movie
3
deal.
video games too.
Oh, those don't count. Which ones are those?
Watered down, that's all I'm saying.
I
There
don't
was literally
remember.
like last year a like RPG Game of Thrones that came out.
Oh, but they were no good.
That doesn't mean they don't exist.
Well, it depends. Maybe I have selective vision. I don't know. That's awful. But no, Val, you should give a hoot about Game of Thrones. You should give several hoots. But no, Batman Arkham Origins looks cool. I'm really interested in the DLC because I love Mr. Freeze in... is it Mr. Freeze? It's not Mr. Freeze. That's a Freezy franchise. Is it Mr. Freeze?
No, it's Mr. Freeze, yeah.
Okay, weird. I had like one of those like...
Although
I
I'm pretty
don't-
sure Mr. Freezy is actually like a frozen ice flavored thing that you buy at the store. Like,
Right.
it is an actual thing.
DC Legal, get on that. This is the first they're hearing of it, probably. No, that DLC looks cool because I really liked Mr. Freeze in... I know he was in City, but I don't think he was in Asylum.
No, he was in Asylum. I remember, okay, there was the boss fight where you had to, like, there was, like, kind of a rectangular room with an upstairs and a downstairs. Which game was that in?
That was City.
Okay.
Because he was, like, trying to save his wife.
Yeah. Well, isn't he always trying to save his wife? Isn't that kind of the thing with him?
I think. I don't remember. All I know is, all I can keep thinking about is Arnold Schwarzenegger saying,
I know,
nice
right?
to... No, oh yeah, I already screwed it up. I used to meet
I
you
used to
or
meet
something.
you, yeah.
See, even Val agrees.
Yeah.
She before she even heard me say it. That's
Yeah.
kindred spirits.
For those of you who
Um,
don't know, Ryan is currently talking to the chat room, so that's
we're-
where the mysterious Val is from.
Oh right, sorry. For those that don't catch us live every Friday
Yeah.
night at 8:30 on A Move TV. Jeez, guys.
Yeah.
No, I want to play as Mr. Freeze. Kind of. We need a Mr. Freeze game.
Yeah, very true. So, other than Arkham Origins, which I really didn't play all that much of, I got right back into Don't Starve. So, they've had a expansion called something something Giants. I feel like it's like Land of the Giants or something. Anyways, big changes since the last time I played, and I
Really?
jumped in and I was like, okay, I just need something that I'm gonna play for maybe half an hour because, you know, I'm just filling in time between other things or, you know, trying to wind down before I go to bed. Do not play this game before you go to bed. It's terrifying now. So like it was already a little bit out there, but now, like, I mean, if you go too long, eventually your like mind starts to go a little bit. So, like, I don't know still if these are my hallucinations or if this is things that are actually happening, but, like, the flowers turn into, like, you know, like, dandelions, how they have those, like, kind of, straight out, like, pointy leaves. it's like a plant like that, but then it has an eyeball in the middle of it. And then, like, you're walking by what looks like a birch tree, and then it turns into this, like, big angry monster. And I'm just like, this... weird. And then there's, like, hellhounds that chase you around, and then that's all during the day. At night... So, at nighttime, there's, like, once your brain starts to go a little fuzzy, you have your fire going, and you're sitting there, and there's, like, this, like, creepy skeleton hand that's just, like, reaching for you. And then it's, like, playing this, like, music box, like a kid's music box, like, little, like, ding, 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 like, type music, and it's just so freaky, man. And it just reaches for you, and it comes right up to you, and the only way you can make it go away is if you run towards it with your axe, and you run towards it, and then there's these, like, big creepy eyes in the darkness, and you have to, like, run back to the fire, and then you have to, like, run at the hand, and then run back to the fire before the monster, like, gets you. It's so scary. I was, like, sitting there, I was, like, goosebumps and, like, oh, shaky, and I was like, okay, this is not, like, de-stressing me at all. Reign of Giants. Thank you, Josh.
So, this is a paid DLC?
No, you don't have to pay for it. If you've bought Don't Starve, like, it's just there. They do, yeah, they do content updates all the time, and I shouldn't say that. I can't remember when I bought Don't Starve what package I bought. So it is possible that when I first purchased Don't Starve, I purchased, like, Don't Starve plus, like, some kind of season's pass or something. Because I can't remember. I bought it a really long time ago now. So it's quite possible I paid a little bit extra and now just have access to all content. But yeah, no, I just logged into Steam and the update was there. So I didn't buy anything else to get this extra content. But they have, like, a little timer whenever you get into the main menu of the game. And it says, like, new content or new patch coming in, and it's, like, a countdown. So it's, like, 10 days, 9 days, 8 days, whatever. And so they let you know when new content is coming. It's really good.
Cool. No, Steam has it on sale for $3.99 as a DLC.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
So I must have bought something at some point.
Yeah. No, it looks interesting. I mean, they just launched it on PS4, so it's kind of weird. Like, a lot of like these indie darlings have been launching on PS4, and then, like,
that was
a
part
month
of
later,
their whole, like, push, right? Is that PS4 is indie friendly, so that doesn't really surprise me. I know, like, I think Don't Starve would be a lot of fun to play with the controller. I've been playing with the keyboard and mouse at the computer, obviously, but I think sitting down with a controller would be a lot of fun, because I find that the controls it's a lot of clicking. It's like Diablo, it's a lot of clicking. So I find that, like, if I could just sit with a controller, it would probably be better, like, easier to move around and stuff, but...
No, it's interesting on the controller, and it works really well. The only time when, like, a lot of games on console is where it kind of loses its speed is with inventory management. Because you have to, like, cycle through, as opposed to with the mouse, it's just like, boom, boom, you're done.
I do find that, because for those of you who don't know or have never played Don't Starve, essentially the idea is it's a survival game, and it's very, very cartoony, but you have to collect resources, and in at least the PC version, all of your inventory space is across the bottom of the screen, so it's quite easy to see, but it is timed, so you have a certain number of hours of daylight, and then you have a certain number of hours of twilight, and then you have a certain number of hours of, like, complete black midnight. And so all of the really crazy, scary, kill you right away demon type things come out in the, like, black night, and you have to have some sort of fire or light to repel them. So you have to build a bonfire, you have to build a torch, or, you know, whatever it is. But all the monsters come out at night. So I found that specifically not inventory management, but, like, recipe management, I guess. So you can build different things with the materials that you collect from the world, and if you build the science machine, then it unlocks new things that you can build, and then you can build, like, I think there's, like, an alchemy machine. I've never ever survived long enough to make weapons good enough to kill things that drop materials to build the further machines. But basically, you can unlock a whole bunch of different recipes by building all of these different kinds of machines. But I find I sit there and I go, okay, I know that I saw, because one of the new mechanics is that you can, or not you can, but there's, like, rain. So if you get wet, your materials all get wet and soggy, and your, like, I guess, like, state of mind goes down much quicker when you're... Hi, puppy.
I don't know what's going on out there, but I'm gonna assume it's someone being very nice and polite. Except for Zoe, who's kind of a bitch. I mean,
technically.
Yeah, I guess. I'm talking about my dog. My dog.
Yeah.
For people who are like, Jesus, Ryan character's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, Zoe's the dog,
Zoe's
not the
dog.
fiance.
No, Ashley is awesome.
So, anyways, there with the mechanic where you can get wet, I know at some point I saw that there was a recipe for like an umbrella, and I was like, okay, and it literally took me like probably 2.5, 3 minutes to find it again, because there's no way to search. It's just like you click on survival, or maybe it's apparel, or maybe it's, you know, like shelter. There's all kinds of these different things where the recipes are kind of sorted. And so in a game where you're timed and you only have so much time to go around and collect resources before you have to kind of hunker down for the night, it's really, 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 really frustrating to sit there and like read and try to figure out what exactly that you need to make your umbrella or to make your hat or your coat or whatever. And so that was the only thing I found, that in something where you're managing resources in a timed manner, to have to like sit and figure things out, so frustrating.
Sometimes I wonder, like when I was trying to get into that game when it launched again on PS4, I was wondering, like, do I need to look up a guide for this? Because I feel like I'm trying the same thing because that's where the game is leading me, and I just keep hitting the same wall. You know,
I was trying really hard, and I still haven't actually looked up any kind of guide or anything for Don't Starve, but I'm getting to the point that I feel like I probably should. But like, the world is randomly generated each time, so this is the first time I think I survived to 15 or 16 days. In the end, a swarm of frogs ate my face, so that kind of sucked. But
as they do.
Ultimately, I didn't starve, so I feel like I won.
It said don't starve.
It said don't starve, and I didn't do that, so.
I got my face eaten by a bunch of toads, but...
But this was the first time that I actually made it all the way around the map and explored everything that was available to me, and I felt like I needed materials that weren't available in the world that had spawned. Like, one of the things that you need for like a bug net, I think, and a flying animal trap, and your health solves, or whatever they're called, you need spider silk and spider venom, and there was only one area that had one spawned spider. So I mean, like, I got one thing of silk from him and no venom sac whatsoever. So I was just like, okay, and I went everywhere, and there were no other, like, little spider spots. So I was like, well, now what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't make half of the recipes because there's just no more spiders in my randomly generated world. So, yeah, I was kind of like, oh.
That's kind of weird. So maybe, like, you made them extinct?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't kill it that, like, I think I killed it on day 10 or something. So it's not like I went and killed it on day 1 and they didn't have a chance to have little spider babies.
Are you blaming the endangered species for being extinct?
Exactly.
Because that sounds not like a good thing to say.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's all their fault.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that's good. I like that game. It's got a really cool look and atmosphere. It's very neat.
So just Josh in the chat room is asking if quitting and re-entering the game would regenerate the world. It doesn't. You have like a save game, so that saves not only like you and your inventory, but that also saves the state of the world. So essentially, once you die or start a new game, you get a new world, but you can't have like all the resources that you've collected and a newly generated world. So
yeah.
But it's still fun. I mean, like I said, I sat down to play for like 20 minutes to half an hour because I had been playing Hearthstone, and then I hit the end of my win streak, so I stopped playing, which is my new strategy, which has got me all the way to level 12. What? So,
nice.
Anyways, I stopped playing Hearthstone and went over to Don't Starve because I figured, 20 minutes, half an hour tops. I played for like 3.5 hours, dude. Like, I played so much. It was like way later than I should have been up on a work night. Like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Damn it.
So are you playing on PC or iPad now?
For Hearthstone, PC still. I prefer PC. I find I can get up and walk away from PC Hearthstone. If I have the iPad in front of me, I just want to keep playing over and over and over and over.
That's good.
And
yeah,
the
I've
chat
been
room
playing
saying I'm also better than Garrett now, which gives me a happy face.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I told Dills I'm catching up to him as well because I think I saw him drop as low as 8 on I think last night. So
shots fired.
I'm coming for ya.
He already doesn't like this show because we talk about ESO.
Yeah, really, which is something else that I played this week. I did play a lot of ESO last weekend. We had a comment on one of our YouTube videos about ESO that we're going to touch on probably next week. We have a user submitted topic that I want to get to, so we'll touch on the ESO comment next week because I do want to try a couple of things before we address the comment. So I have a feeling that the person that submitted the comment is a whole lot further in ESO than I am. So I want to try to get up there and find some friends and play with them and see how it goes. So cool. We will address that ESO comment, guys. So thanks for sending in your comments. I think it was from 3 episodes ago, 116, I think. The mute ESO sucks and have fun. That episode.
Yeah, so you're still doing that? You're still muting all the haters?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, the thing is, in the end, I like it. I'm having fun, and I think that in any game, that's really what matters. So,
that is all that matters.
Yeah. So, and Leo in the chat room is saying, I hear it's just faster to play on PC. Hearthstone is much faster to play on PC. That being said, I have an iPad too. I don't have like the up-to-date, most recent version of the iPad. So whatever they're calling it now, iPad Air, iPad, I don't know. Anyways, whatever they're calling it now. I don't have that one. I have a 2, so it is quite slow. And I also find it really hard to walk away from when I'm just kind of laying in bed. I'm like, I'll just play one more. Right now, I'm going on win streaks, getting a whole bunch of stars, losing once, so then I only lose 1 star, and then walking away for a bit. And then I am having a whole lot more success on the ladder, so... It's all about being able to remove myself and not get all ragey and then keep going.
Not get all ragey. Yeah, it's the iPad Air. I have an iPad Air and it runs fairly quickly. I was actually surprised how unbloated it is. A lot of iPad games these days are really like just thick. They take forever to load and they're slow. And they have to connect constantly. This one is connecting to battle.net, and it's seamless. It's boom, it's done. Yeah. And I think you're right. Like it is slower on the iPad, just because I think I don't know. Feels a little slower, but
straight up processing power, really. I mean, the iPad does not have the processing power of my doghouse. I'm sorry. That's not me being a doghouse fangirl. That's just me saying, like, there's computers and there's portable devices, and that's really it.
But it's nice.
That being said, it's good. Mm-hmm. I am enjoying the iPad app. So I think we're going to move on because we do have to get to this topic. We're only got about 15 minutes left in the show. So before we move on, I just wanted to say that Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. So head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. So our topic this week is actually submitted to us by Just Josh, who is one of our patrons. And if you would like to become a Gamers In patron, you can do so by going to patreon.com/thegamersin. And then you can do things like submit topics, tell us what you want to hear about on the show, tell us what games you want us to play, what games you want us to play on game night, which we have every Thursday night. So Josh writes to us and he says, hello, Ryan and Jocelyn. It's me, Just Josh, or Corrito, which I did not realize that these were the same people, but Ryan spent the entire night last night calling him Dorito. So
I was so hungry. Come on.
And you're a gamer, and all gamers eat Doritos, right? So
I don't have any Doritos in the house. I'm not allowed.
Oh, that's so sad. Um, so Josh says, I had an idea for a show topic. If you're still looking for something to talk about, I forgot to take that line out of the email. I do edit these down sometimes because they're really long. But anyways, with the new Dragon Age media dropping and the enjoyment I'm getting from The Wolf Among Us, I'm getting really excited about story-based games. However, when the choices drive the plot in many of their games, it still feels like the destination is pretty much the same, with some varying smaller details. While I'm a firm believer that it is the journey and not the destination that should drive a story, do you think we could ever have a game that has a completely different ending depending on how you play the game? I think it would be awesome if replayability doesn't mean that the first chapter and the last chapter of the story were the same, while everything in between varies slightly. What do you think? As always, love the show and everything you guys do. From Josh. So thank you very much, Josh, for submitting the topic this week. I think this is a great topic, especially in the context of the new Dragon Age trailer that just came out. When was that?
This week, I think. Early this week.
Yeah, okay. So the new Dragon Age trailer this week. It's the game's coming to us October 7th. Wolf Among Us just came out, episode 3. We reviewed that last week, and it was pretty freaking awesome. So overall, like, I mean, story-based games are really kind of gaining some momentum here, and one of the examples that I edited out of this, and I'm really, really sorry, Josh, but it was a really long email.
We read the whole thing.
Yes, we did read the whole thing. Was about Mass Effect, and that was kind of one of the ones that I would say is the closest to having like a different ending depending on how you play. But even then, it wasn't really driven so much by your choices. It was more like, how many points did you rack up, and did you have enough points to get different choices at the end? I mean, there were also different characters available to you if some of them died and on, but in the end, really, you had the start of Mass Effect 3, which was the invasion of the Reapers that kind of goes through the same story and culminates in the big battle at the end. Not really a surprise. That's kind of what everybody thought was going to happen, so I'm not spoilering anything. But basically, like, regardless of the things that change in the middle, in the end, you have the same end, like, same beginning, same end. So overall, like, I would really like to see this game, but I think, or like a game like this, but I think that the trap that a lot of people fall into, by people I mean developers, is that they often, if they have a very, very successful game, which I can see something like this being extraordinarily successful, is that then they can't make sequel. If you have a game that has like 3, 4, whatever different endings that you can possibly get to based on your choices, almost like a choose your own adventure. It's the choose your own adventure of video games. You then can't go into choose your own adventure 2 because everybody ended up in the same place. Or, sorry, different places. So you would have to do, like, choose your own adventure 2A and 2B and 2C in order to kind of pick up the story where it left off, because all your players are going to be in, like, one of 5 different places.
Yeah. No, like, the chat room is sort of agreeing with you in the sense that it would be not impossible, but very tough to build a game where it's like, you all start at a single point, and as you make choices, like the way they kind of worked with Mass Effect, I can't remember where I heard this analogy, but it was very good in the sense that Mass Effect, you start at a single point, and then you slowly branch out, and like 2 sort of happens at the widest point. Like you have, at this end, a bunch of people dying, and on this end, like your entire crew survives. And then with 3, it starts to just kind of come right back up to a single point, which is the end of Mass Effect 3.
Right. But even
you
then,
always
I
need
would
those
say,
2 points.
Yeah, even then I would say that 2, where you're saying it's the widest point, the main story is still the same. Like, who you have out of your crew changes, because I know, like, you and I both had very different crew makeups through 2 and 3. Mostly because I maybe was reckless or something, or have terrible luck. But one way or the other, everybody died.
It comes down to it.
So when it really comes down to it, I mean, we had very different crew makeups, but our stories were still the same. We were able to talk about it from point A to point B because the overarching story was the same. It's not like I said, everybody died, and then the Earth exploded, and then the rest of my game was survival on the moon because I had to hide from the Reapers, and it turned into a stealth game. You know, like.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just me off the
part.
top of my. That's what I'm saying. Off the top of my head, that's how it could have gone if my entire crew died. I was unable to stop the Reapers. They destroyed the Earth, and I had to hide out on the moon for 25 hours.
Like, well, I mean, these games, like, let's look at Dragon Age. You haven't played a lot of Dragon Age, right? You tried it, I think, the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so...
I did try the first one. I ended up stopping probably about maybe a third of the way through the main story, and that was driven solely by the sound effects, I guess. I was going to say voiceover, but it's not voiceover. It's like... Literally, my character was sitting there, and every time she swung her sword, it was like, and I was just like, okay, shut up. But you couldn't mute your character sounds without muting all sound effects in the game. So then I lost out on everything else. So I was just like, well, I literally want to, like, gouge out my own earballs because I can't. I don't know. Because
Who says that?
I don't know. Because I literally.
Earballs.
Okay, you know what? Earballs, wrong word. Sorry.
Keep going.
Point is, I just wanted to, like, mute everything and to try to get through the game, but then you mute everything, you lose out on so much, and I just ended up giving up on the game. And I didn't buy Dragon Age 2 because of my poor experience in 1. And I do know that it's a different game, and it's probably so much fun, and everyone raves about it. But I did watch the trailer to the new Dragon Age, and that one looks pretty solid. So I'll probably watch some gameplay before I actually buy it, because if there's like, over and over and over again, I can't.
You probably had like porn mode on or something.
Okay, I promise I didn't turn porn mode on. I promise.
Well, that's not a real thing, but
it probably is. If it's a PC game, it has a mod. There must be porn mode mod.
Oh God, PC mods. Let's not get into that conversation. No, Dragon Age is interesting because Dragon Age 1, you play a strictly custom-made character with many choices, and then in the second one, because there was so many things you did with that character and so many things that they could have taken and brought into the second one, they basically took the Grey Warden that was your character in the first one, put him or her off to the side in another location while 2 focused on the Hawk family. And that game sort of had its whole story. This next game, which is not even called Dragon Age 3, it's called Dragon Age Inquisition, is about a whole new set of characters with a couple like reappearing. I mean, you have Morrigan from the first game and the archer Varys, or he's a dwarf. I can't remember his name, but he's really cool.
From the first game or the second game?
The second game. You wouldn't know, but
yeah.
It's interesting. So what they're doing is there's basically like creating a game with a lot of different story choices, finishing it, or at least saying we're done with this for now and moving on to somewhere else in the world. Val is saying, oh, Varric, thank you. I knew it was a V. Thank you, Val. So it's really cool in the way they're doing it. And, you know, in the second one, there was like little nods to what your character in the first game is doing now in the world, because it is based in the future. But still, it all comes to a point at the end where there is an ending. Like, there's still a beginning and the end, and all the stuff in between is about, like Josh had said, it's about the journey, not the destination. But I think my favorite game series that's been doing this very well for a number of years is the Infamous series.
Yeah, or see, I haven't played that because PlayStation.
Right, but like Fable has a similar system in the sense that Fable's not a great example, but it's a similar sense in that there's a good and evil, and you go down, there's 2 paths, and they all head to the same direction. With this most recent Infamous game, you are doing very different things with key characters based on your good or evil choices, and the end is different in the sense that if you do a good ending, it's very different from the bad ending. But it comes to the issue that you mentioned is like, how do you do a sequel? And the way the developers handled it was with the second one, there was such a vast difference between the good and bad ending that they had to pick one. when they made a sequel.
Which is very similar to what they did in Warcraft, because I think it's Warcraft 2, I believe. In the end of Warcraft 2, you have basically one side or the other that wins. And I'm 99% sure it was the humans defeating the orcs. So, at the end of that game, there was a set ending. You could play it either way, because sometimes you could play orcs or you could play humans. But in the end, what they went with as canon was that the humans won. And then you get into Warcraft 3, and it goes from there. But they definitely pick an ending, and you can do that. But I feel like maybe like RTSs maybe aren't quite the best example, because in the end, you get much more invested in the story, I think, and totally shooting myself in the foot, because I know I picked StarCraft 2 as Heart of the Swarm as my game of the year because of the story and everything else. And I'm not saying RTSs can't have story, but sometimes you get much more invested in RPG stories because you feel like you're much more in it, as opposed to a top-down RTS.
Do you want something like what we've been talking about, in the sense that it's like you can have a very different story, like based on your choices, and you get a completely different ending? Like, is that something we want?
Absolutely. Because I find that, like...
we haven't had it before, so I'm curious to see if it's something that...
But the thing is, with Mass Effect 3, I'm replaying it, and it's been the same replay that I've been going through since we started doing Extra Life, because I always end my Extra Life playing the same Renegade playthrough. So, I mean, it's been literally, 2 years that I've been going through this Mass Effect 3 Renegade playthrough. And the thing is, I already know, even though I'm playing through the content differently, because I'm essentially playing all of the, hard-ass decisions as opposed to the good guy type decisions, the story's going the same place, and I know that going in. I feel like if there was a game that literally had 3, 4, 5 different endings based on the choices I made, I would go through and I would play that 4 or 5 different times. And
this is something that Ken Levine is working on right now. Like, he's breaking apart Irrational Games to have him and 15 other developers to make a replayable, narrative-based digital download game that is incredibly something you can play over and over again to get a different experience. Maybe that's the first game that gives us this. I mean, we all love stories crafted by Ken, so maybe this is it.
The thing is, and I think the reason that we may not see exactly what we want to see, because essentially what it would be, or what we really, really want in a perfect world would be like Mass Effect, like that level of detail and storytelling, but with 5 different potential stories. So it's almost, or 3 or whatever, but essentially what we want is the same starting point. And then based on my choices, I get one of a bunch of different stories. So you would pretty much have to combine 2, 3, 4, whatever video games into one. That's the level of detail that we're looking for. If you do that, how do you cost it? Because if you're in a position where you can't really do a sequel, you could possibly do DLC, which could be another branch of the story. So you could say replay me again for $20. Here's another story. But it would be very, very difficult to develop a game like this and keep it at the, $50, $60 price range.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe there's got to be something there. Maybe it's not like our typical stories where there's a beginning, middle, and end, where it's more like, say, a game of Civ 5. As it progresses, different story elements crop up, in the sense that, the common thread is always India is kind of a dick, but in this game, the narrative is that the Queen of England's not doing so hot, and Germany's the most peaceful country ever. Russia's still a bit of an asshole, but it's constantly changing every time you play a new game. It's not like, Bilbo runs to the wagon to collect the pigeons. I don't know, that doesn't even happen. No. I was watching the extended cut. That's one of the deleted scenes. But it's not like a story beat that we're normally used to. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but I think it's going to be like a smaller title that does it first.
True.
And it'll be a bite-sized experience.
Yeah.
Like, this is the other thing we haven't mentioned, is that something that like this is going to be a fraction of the time to complete. Then you're looking at, like, say, some of the examples we had of Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a 60-hour game.
What I would really like to see would be, like, this is what I would want to see out of, like, Telltale. Like, if the next Walking Dead game had you starting with whatever character you start with, and then based on a decision that you make around, like, who lives and who dies, or, you know, like, literally, like, you get to a fork in the road. You go right, you get to the prison. You go left, you go to Atlanta. Like, you know, just something that is just completely and totally different branches, and you get a different story depending on if you went left or right. And then, you know, maybe you get to Atlanta and something crazy happens, and you either get a new party member or somebody dies, and then you have another, like, left or right choice. And if you go, again, right, you go to the prison, left, you go to, I don't know, Canada, where all the zombies are frozen and it's safe. Like,
nice.
You know, like, but you know what I mean? Like, just something that kind of branched off and could intersect again, and kind of had a whole bunch of different story points, and each, like, maybe if you go to the prison after Atlanta, then what happens at the prison is slightly different than if you'd gone to the prison first. Like, maybe the governor is not there because you got there so early or something. You know what I mean? Like, just something that kind of messed with the story a little bit more than just, like, a bunch of different linear plot lines. Like, I don't know. It's interesting, but I think something maybe like an indie like Telltale could get away with, because they make a little bit bite-sized games.
The Wolf Among Us does, I know we're running a little late, but The Wolf Among Us does this a little bit with their stuff. You know, like, where you have a choice between the three places. We discussed this last week.
We did, but then in the end, you still are going to get to the same place, you know? Like, and we talked about that too. Like, we were a little bit late getting to the one apartment, and I don't want to spoil anything because we did spoilers last week, but both you and I were a little bit late because we chose similar orders of things. But really, you still end up going to that apartment that we were late getting to, you know? Like, there's no real change.
The outcome is the same.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not. It feels like Telltale experimenting with it, but it's almost like Telltale's got this cookie cutter that they've set up that is like, we can't change it because we hit gold. You know, like, there's a reason they're releasing 4 games this year.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much does it for our topic. So thanks everybody for sending in your ideas and hanging out with us in the chat room. We had a ton of fun. If you want to show your TGI pride, you can do so by heading over to slashloot.com. That is SLASH loot.com, where you can grab yourself a Gamers In t-shirt. They have tons of other awesome shirts, including designs by Taylor Johnson, like Best Pals, as well as all your other favorite podcasts like Azeroth Roundtable, The Morning Stream, Zombies Ate My Podcast, and The Angry Chicken. Go to slashloot.com and show off your podcast pride. So yeah, I think that does it for this week. We did want to thank Josh Cook, who is our patron of the week. So thank you so much for supporting the Gamers In. As always, the Gamers In will remain free, but we do want to hear your feedback. And the best way to do so is to become a patron and let us know on our Patreon page. So that is patreon.com/thegamersin. And we're not doing that email this week, right? I was like, oh no, we have a big email. Oh no, wait, we already said we're doing that next week. Ah, professionalism.
You know, this is what people have to deal with because we're recording on a Friday. This is like our entire week being exhaled. Now I said it right. Exhaled. See? This is what happens.
Yeah, and we ran late. This is why. If we'd ended 5 minutes ago, then it would have been fine.
The last 5 minutes of the show was shit.
Yeah, total crap. Why do we even try?
We were trying. What?
If you'd like to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com. You can also find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including Into the Nexus, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, AMove Radio, and The Angry Chicken. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at info@gamersinpodcast.com. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat for creating our music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We'd also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at The Gamers Inn, and remember, tune in next week. Bye, everybody.